Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got a list of my top 10 favorite Denzel Washington movies on physical media for you. I am a huge Denzel Washington fan. He is my favorite actor, at least at this point in time, at this point in my life. If anybody ever asks me, hey Fuzz, who's your favorite actor? Denzel is usually the first name that pops into my head. And I've been meaning to make this video for actually quite some time. In fact, I'm kind of surprised it took me as long as it did in the life of the channel to get around to making this video. Just because I am such a huge fan of the man's work. Now, I did do a collaboration at one point, I think a little over a year ago, with my friend Nick over at Movie AV Impulse. We did a top 5 Denzel video for his channel, and it was kind of like a dueling top 5, right? Where I would offer my top 5 Denzel films, and then he would offer his top 5 Denzel films. And I had a lot of fun collaborating with Nick and making that video for his channel. But at the same time, I had also always intended to revisit the topic of my favorite Denzel movies and make a more expanded list for my channel that would allow me to talk about a greater number of my favorite Denzel movies than just my top 5. You know, I wanted to give it the full Fuzz treatment, my usual top 10 plus honorable mentions. So that's what we're doing here today, and I gotta admit, I'm pretty excited to get into this list. So without any further ado, let's rock this. All right, so starting off with my number 10 here, we've got a 2002 film that is a great Denzel movie. And I feel like this one doesn't get talked about as often as other Denzel Washington films. I'm talking about John Q. Excellent film here, which of course, I'm talking about the center one there. I have a little triple feature pack here, which I actually just picked up not too long ago because I wanted to watch John Q again before I did this video, and I hadn't seen it in quite a few years. This was one of those holes in my collection that needed to be plugged, and well, I finally got around to doing it. I had been meaning to pick this up for a while. And honestly, I wanted to get just a standalone Blu-ray of John Q, but it was more cost efficient to pick up this triple feature than to pick up a standalone version. So I figured I'd go ahead and do that and get the Pelican Brief too while I was at it. I didn't need the Training Day disc. I've got that on 4K, but I didn't have these other two movies in my collection. So it was worth it for me to pick up the triple feature here to get John Q. Anyway, this is an excellent film, and Denzel just gives one hell of a performance in this movie. Amazing cast, too. You've got James Woods, you've got Ray Liotta in this, you've got Robert Duvall, Anne Heche, for you Anne Heche fans out there. I was never a big fan of Anne Heche, but for those of you that are fans of her, she's in this as well. And it's a great little crime drama. I think that's probably the most fitting description for this. It is a crime drama, but there's a little bit more to it. This film has a lot of depth to it. Essentially, Denzel is this just kind of working class guy, factory worker, and his kid ends up really sick. And so he has to take some pretty extraordinary measures to look after his kid. And I don't want to give any details for those who've never seen this film because I really do feel like this is a film it's best if you just go into it blind and just kind of let it wash over you. But it is an incredibly compelling story. The film manages to be both a suspenseful crime drama and a film that really tugs at the heartstrings at the same time. Denzel's character is in a very, very tough situation here, and you know, he has to take some pretty intense measures to save his son's life. So yeah, I just love this movie, and you know, I'd probably rank it higher. If I were ranking this purely on Denzel's performance, I would probably rank this one even a little higher on the list. The only reason I have it at number 10 is because this one doesn't have as high of a rewatchability factor for me as other Denzel movies. It's still rewatchable. It's just I can't rewatch this one as often as I can other Denzel movies just due to the subject matter of the movie. But this really is a stellar performance from Denzel Washington. So if you've never seen it, I would highly recommend it. For my number 10, John Q. Okay, and next up for my number 9, we've got a 1995 film here, Virtuosity. I love this one. This is such a blast. This 4K from Vinegar Syndrome just came out a couple months ago, I think, and I think I even did like some kind of review, or I talked about this on the channel at the time when I first picked it up. But this movie is just a lot of fun to me. It's a total blast. It's not even necessarily the best Denzel movie, just like in terms of his acting performance or whatever, but it's got a really high rewatch factor for me. This is one of those films I used to watch all the time in the 90s and early 2000s, playing on cable TV all the time, and so I would come across this one a lot and probably watched it more times than I even really wanted to. It seemed like whenever I was looking for something to watch on TV, there was a period there for a few years where this was just always on TV. And so I ended up coming across it a lot of times and just watching it for lack of better options. But it's a fantastic looking 4K, and it's a great like mid-90s like cyber tech crime action flick, right? You do have to keep in mind there are some dated visual effects in this. They're not as cutting edge as the story would suggest here, but there's also a lot of cool practical stuff in this film as well. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun on 4K. So yeah, if you've never seen Virtuosity, it's one I definitely recommend, especially if you're a Denzel fan. So yeah, for my number 9, Virtuosity. And next for my number 8, we've got the final film from 2010, made by the legendary Tony Scott, unfortunately. And I was fortunate enough to see this in the theater when it came out. I'm talking about Unstoppable. Of course, none of us knew at the time that we were watching Tony Scott's final movie, and it really was just such a tragedy. So tragic that we lost Tony Scott. And I've said before on the channel, he's one of my favorite directors, and this is a great movie, and I would love to see this get a 4K release. Denzel here with Chris Pine, and yeah, just a solid movie. A lot of cool practical stuff in this movie, which I always appreciated about Tony Scott. It's suspenseful and exciting, but it also has those great human stories that people connect with. And one of the reasons that people love Tony Scott's films are the characters. And this one is certainly no exception. I'm a huge fan of this film, and I would love to see this get a 4K release someday. I don't know if that's even likely at all. I don't know if that might be a bit of a pipe dream. Right? I don't know if Unstoppable is on anybody's radar in terms of like 4K release, but I would love to get all the Tony Scott movies released on 4K. But this one would be, higher up on the list, on the wish list of movies that I'd like to see get released on 4K from Tony Scott, if possible. Anyway, it's a killer film. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. So for my number 8, Unstoppable. Okay, and moving right along here to my number 7, we go from one Scott brother to another, the great Ridley Scott. I'm talking about American Gangster from 2007. Awesome film. Basically, Denzel as a gangster. You just can't go wrong with that. Great cast here. Denzel, Russell Crowe's in this. A whole bunch of people are in this. Armand Asante, Cuba Gooding Jr. is in this. Who else is in this? Josh Brolin is in this. And I know there's a few other good people in this as well. So really good film. And this is a fantastic looking 4K, by the way. If you've never seen this film on 4K, it's one I would recommend picking up on 4K. And you do get the extended cut of this film on 4K, which is like 18 minutes longer than the theatrical, but this is a fantastic looking 4K. It looks really stunning on the format, and is definitely not a disappointment on the format. It's worth the upgrade from Blu-ray. If you have the Blu-ray but you've never gotten around to the 4K, I would definitely say the 4K is worth the upgrade from Blu-ray. So yeah, just a great film, and yeah, I don't know what else I can really say about this one. American Gangster, Ridley Scott, for my number 7. All right, next up for my number 6, we've got an entry here that I'm cheating on a little bit here. I've got more than one film in my my number 6 slot, and that's because I just had such a hard time deciding which one to put in this position. And I'm talking about all 3 of the Equalizer movies, Equalizer 1 through 3. So we got the first Equalizer right there. Of course, the second Equalizer movie right there. And the third one, which I have on a steel book here, the third Equalizer movie. And, you know, what was so tough about this is I definitely knew I had to have the Equalizer somewhere on this list, right? But at the same time, I didn't want to take up 2 or 3 slots on the list with Equalizer movies, right? And I knew it was going to be really difficult to decide, at the very least, between 1 and 3 for me. I'd say it's these 2 that are probably my favorites in the trilogy. The second one's good too, but if I were ranking them, that one would probably rank last. However, for 1 and 3, this is really hard for me because these are both like pretty equal for me. I think I give the edge to 3 a little bit over 1, but that's a tough one, right? And I certainly didn't want to come in here with only one Equalizer movie and have it be the third one. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to include all 3 on my list. I love this franchise, this trilogy. They're great movies. And you get to see Denzel later on in his career being an absolute badass and doing it in a very methodical way. I just think all 3 of these movies are a blast, and I think they're must-own titles on 4K for any Denzel fan. They all look stunning in 4K. So yeah, I don't know how much more I can really say about them. These are just fantastic movies. So yeah, for my number 6, the Equalizer trilogy. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate that notification bell as well so you can be alerted whenever I'm posting videos that you might dig. Also, don't forget to like the video as well. It seems like a small thing, I know, but it really does help with the YouTube algorithm and the channel's visibility out there. So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay, for my number 5, we've got a 1991 film here that I absolutely love and would love to see this get a 4K release, but I just don't know if it's ever going to happen or not. I'm talking about the film Ricochet. This is one of my earliest memories of watching a Denzel movie. I feel like this is probably the first time I ever saw Denzel in anything significant. You know, I may have seen him prior to this in other things and didn't realize it at the time, but I feel like Ricochet is the first Denzel movie I ever really saw. And it made a pretty big impact on me at the time. I just thought it was so good. And I ended up watching it a number of times. It's another one of these films that I feel like used to play on cable TV quite a bit. And so I would stumble across it quite often and rewatch it. But this is a title I have wanted to own for my physical media collection for quite some time. And I finally got tired of waiting for a 4K that may or may never come. And I broke down and I purchased the Spanish import Blu-ray. In fact, I just did that just today before making this video because I was like, man, I have to get this in my collection somehow. I've been on the fence about buying the Spanish Blu-ray because I didn't know if it was going to be like a bootleg or if the quality was going to be shit or what, and I didn't really want to take a chance, but there aren't really a whole lot of options out there for this movie. So if it's something you want in your collection, the Spanish Blu-ray seems like it's the only game in town at this time. So I broke down and bought it, and I will look forward to adding that to my collection, but I'm still hoping that we might get a 4K release at some point. Now, I don't know if this is the kind of movie that a major studio would ever release on 4K. I can't see it being that type of movie. But I could see it being the kind of movie that might be like licensed to a boutique, right? Like I could see Vinegar Syndrome doing with Ricochet what they did with Virtuosity, right? Giving it the royal VSU box set treatment, you know, the nice chunky box and everything. So I would love to see that. I mean, I'd cream myself if Vinegar Syndrome put out a box set for Ricochet like this, right? I would. I mean, seriously, it's an awesome movie, and with you know, great performances from both Denzel and John Lithgow, who's also in this movie. He plays the bad guy in this, and he's real sinister. And essentially, the movie is about a cop who kind of makes a name for himself by busting this guy, played by John Lithgow. And John Lithgow decides, or his character, John Lithgow's character, decides he wants to get revenge on Denzel's character. So there's kind of like a little cat and mouse thing going on here between Denzel's character and John Lithgow's character. It's just a great film, and if you've never seen it, it's one I would definitely recommend. So I don't know, I just hope we get a 4K release someday of this one. It would be awesome on 4K. So anyway, guess that's about all I can really say about this one. For my number 5, Ricochet. All right, next up for my number 4, we've got a title here that I just recently talked about in my my Gene Hackman Top 10 list video, and that is Crimson Tide from 1995. What a great film. I mean, I don't know how much we can really say about this one. This one has become a classic as far as I'm concerned. And the performances between Denzel and Gene Hackman in this, the interplay between them is awesome. It's so intense. And yeah, Denzel, definitely one of his finest performances in this film, as is the case with Gene Hackman, one of Gene Hackman's finest performances. So I just love this film. And I'm really excited to hear that we're getting a 4K release, which I mentioned, I think, a couple times on the channel. There is a 4K release coming for this one, and I'm super excited about it. I hope we get more Tony Scott films on 4K after we get this one, but I'll take any Tony Scott I can get my hands on in 4K. So yeah, just a killer film. Crimson Tide for my number 4. Okay, and moving right along to my number 3 here, we have the 2001 film that earned Denzel the Academy Award for Best Actor, and I'm talking about Training Day, and that was a well-deserved Oscar for sure. This is one of Denzel's finest performances. Amazing performance from Denzel. And by the way, if you don't have this on 4K, this is one you should get on 4K. I have the 4K Steelbook here, and I just thought the Steelbook was much better artwork than what we got on the slipcover. And I've shown this on the channel before, but if you haven't seen it, it's very cool. You got the cool little bullet holes there on the back, which I always loved, and then of course like the map of LA. So yeah, just an awesome film. Denzel and Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke is another favorite actor of mine. I love Ethan Hawke as well. And probably because of this film, I think this is the film that made me really start taking Ethan Hawke seriously. So yeah, just an awesome film. Denzel, unlike we've ever seen him before in this film, he's just a total badass in this movie. And I love the ambiguity of Denzel's role in this. You don't really know, the first time you watch this, that is, you don't really know what the deal is with his character. And I love that about this film. So if by some chance you have never seen Training Day, you definitely owe it to yourself to watch this movie. And I would say pick it up on 4K, because this is, I'd say this is a demo-worthy 4K. This is a damn good looking 4K. So yeah, for my number 3, Training Day. And for my number 2, we've got another Tony Scott film here. I've had a couple Tony Scott films on the list so far, Crimson Tide and Unstoppable. But you know, Denzel and Tony, they did a lot of work together. I think Denzel was in like 5 Tony Scott films. And me being such a huge fan of not just Denzel, but also Tony Scott, you had to know there were going to be a number of Tony Scott films on the list today as well. So yeah, for my number 2, I'm talking about Deja Vu from 2016. Such a great film. And I think when I did my top 5 last year for Nick's channel over at Movie AV Impulse, I think I might have had the order of my top 5 a little bit different than I do this time. I don't know if I had Deja Vu quite as high, but upon reflection, you know how it goes. Like the more that time goes by, your thinking evolves, your perspective on different movies changes. Well, that's kind of what happened here. And I think I had this a notch or 2 lower on my list last year, but since then, this is one of my favorite Denzel films. Well, it's my number 2, right? And it's just such a good film, and it's got a really high rewatch value for me, and I think that's why I like it. And the reason I'm putting this ahead of Training Day is because I feel like I can rewatch this one a little bit more often than I can rewatch Training Day, even though they're both excellent films. You know, and I mean, Training Day might actually be a better role for Denzel, or a better performance, but I just love this movie. I think he does an amazing job here as the ATF agent investigating the events of the film, and bit by bit putting all the puzzle pieces together to try and figure out what's going on here and solve the crimes that occur in this film. The film has a great little investigative slash mystery component to it, and it's got a great cast as well. You got Val Kilmer in this film, and he's awesome in this. And as a little side note here, just kind of a housekeeping task, as I meant to actually tell you guys this earlier in the video, but for you Val Kilmer fans out there, I do have a Val Kilmer top 10 list video that I am working on. I wanted to wait until after Tombstone was released on 4K before I finalize that video and put it all together, but that is coming. So Val Kilmer fans, stay tuned. I do have a Val Kilmer top 10 list incoming. But back to Deja Vu, yeah, I love Val Kilmer in this movie. And at the time when this came out, I feel like I remember thinking at the time that I hadn't seen Val Kilmer in anything significant in a while. And I mean, Val Kilmer was always acting all along, but in terms of like higher profile movies, I feel like I hadn't seen anything from him in a while when this movie first came out. So it was cool to see Val Kilmer pop up for a role in this movie. But yeah, this is just a great movie. Val Kilmer, Jim Caviezel is in this as well. He does a great job. Solid movie. It's a crime drama with a mystery component, and it's also got a technological component that is pretty significant as well, almost like a futuristic technological component to it. Yeah, if you've never seen Deja Vu and you're a Denzel fan, you definitely have to watch this movie. It is an awesome movie, and I don't think it gets talked about enough in Denzel's catalog. I feel like this one sometimes gets overlooked, and people focus on some of the other bigger ones like Training Day and Crimson Tide. But for my money, this is an excellent Denzel film, and it's one of my favorites. So yeah, for my number 2, Deja Vu. And finally, for my number 1, it's the film from 2004 that I personally think is Denzel's finest performance. I'm talking about Man on Fire. This is such a damn good film, so compelling, and just, I mean, if you've never seen it, it just sucks you in, and it keeps your interest the whole time. Denzel's a badass in this movie, but there's more to it than just that. This movie's got some substance to it, and Denzel's character has some issues, right, that he's trying to work through. But then once the action kicks in, it's totally badass, and you just can't go wrong with it. I would also note that this is, I think this is one of Tony Scott's more experimental films. He really does some cool creative stuff with the different types of cameras and zooms and all the fast edits and cuts that he does. His typical kind of frenetic style. He amps it up to 11 in this film, and he goes kind of full Tony. Well, maybe not quite as full Tony as Domino, but pretty damn close. He really goes all in on his signature style for this film, and it is just killer. Anyway, this one is high on my 4K wish list, along with Deja Vu as well. I mean, we're getting Crimson Tide on 4K, but I'd really like to get Man on Fire and Deja Vu on 4K as well. Those are like high on my wish list in terms of like, I would probably wish for those two over just about any other movie out there. If I could get this and Deja Vu on 4K, I would be a very happy man. So yeah, just an incredible film that I always love revisiting whenever I can. So if you've never seen Man on Fire, you definitely should check this one out. For my number 1, Man on Fire. All right, so that about covers my top 10, but of course, as always, I also have some honorable mentions here that I want to go over with you guys briefly, especially with Denzel. I knew I was going to have quite a few honorable mentions, and I had to actually take titles away just to keep the honorable mentions section fairly reasonable, right, and not too large. So I've got a handful of honorable mentions here for you guys today. First off is a great little heist flick here for those of you who are fans of heist films. I love heist films. This is a great 2006 heist film. I'm talking about Inside Man, directed by Spike Lee. And yeah, this one's a lot of fun. You got Denzel here, you got Clive Owen, amazing cast. Jodie Foster in this as well. Christopher Plummer is in this. Willem Dafoe. Yeah, if you've never seen this one and you're a fan of heist flicks, you should definitely check this one out. It's a lot of fun, and it's, you know, the first time you watch it, you don't really know where it's going. And I love that element of mystery, you know, watching the whole story unfold and finding out what's actually going on. And I love that about this film. It's a really cool heist flick. So if you've never seen it, yeah, you should check it out. Inside Man. Another honorable mention, this time from 2010, is a movie I just watched for the first time just within the last few months. And I'm surprised it took me so long to get around to watching this movie, but for whatever reason, I had just never gotten around to it. But I finally picked it up, and I'm glad I did, because this was a good one. I'm talking about Book of Eli here. This is a Hughes Brothers film. For those who know the Hughes Brothers, they directed Menace to Society and Dead Presidents. And I didn't even realize, you know, up until a short time before I bought this movie, that this was even a Hughes Brothers film at all. Otherwise, I might have watched it a lot sooner, because I do like some of the other films that they've done. But this was a great movie. I can't believe I waited as long as I did to watch this one, because this is fantastic. Denzel is a total badass once again, but there's more to him than just that. And that's what's so cool about it. And this has Gary Oldman in it as well. I always love Gary Oldman. He is a true actor as well, just like Denzel. Gary Oldman always brings his A game to anything he does. So yeah, I just picked this up a few months ago and watched it for the first time, and I was kind of kicking myself for not having checked this out sooner. So I'm glad I finally did, but yeah, awesome movie, Book of Eli. Another great honorable mention here is the 2012 film Safe House, with Denzel and Ryan Reynolds in this. I actually like Ryan Reynolds in this one. You know, Ryan Reynolds, I have to be in the right mood for him, and it depends on the role he's doing. But he actually plays it a little more serious and straight here. You know, I don't really care for his style of comedy as much, but this is definitely not a comedic role for Ryan Reynolds. He's definitely more on the serious side for this, and he does a great job in this movie. And of course, I love Denzel's character in this. This is kind of like an action spy thriller, I think is the best way to put it. And I kind of refer to this jokingly as a discount Tony Scott movie, or like a discount Antoine Fuqua movie. It's along those same lines of, you know, the kind of movies that they would make, but not quite as good as Tony Scott or Antoine Fuqua, but still, it's a really entertaining film, and it catches your attention right off the bat, and at least for me, it held my attention all the way through. So yeah, this is a solid film here. You know, the thing about Denzel is he tends to elevate any film he's in. So even if the film itself would ordinarily just kind of be an okay film, Denzel's presence in that film can really elevate the film to a whole nother level. And I think it's fair to say there's a little bit of that going on with this. Again, it's more of a discount Tony Scott, discount Antoine Fuqua film. I mean, the director seems fairly competent, seems to know what he's doing, but not quite as good as Fuqua or Tony Scott. But it is a solid film. It's an entertaining film, and it actually does have some pretty good rewatch value too. I've seen this one a few times since it's come out. So yeah, great film, Safe House. All right, and just a couple more quick honorable mentions. We've got Out of Time here from 2003. If you haven't seen this one, this is one I would recommend, especially if you're a fan of neo-noir movies. This is definitely a neo-noir movie. And I think it's fair to say that Denzel's character in this film is maybe a little bit more morally ambiguous. Which, you would expect in a neo-noir movie, right? So yeah, if you've never seen it, I would recommend it, Out of Time. And then finally, we've got a drama slash thriller from 2012 that another just incredible performance from Denzel Washington. And I'm talking about the movie Flight. I did see this movie in the theater. It's an excellent film, really well done film. Now, personally for me, if I'm being completely honest, this doesn't have quite as high a rewatch value for me as other Denzel films do. But that's not because it's a bad movie. It's a great movie. It's just not the kind of film I can revisit, over and over and over again. I need a little space and time between viewings, right? Probably at least a few years time between viewings before I'm ready to watch this one again. But it is another one of those roles for Denzel where he really does bring his full-blown A game to the table, and you just can't go wrong with his performance in this film. This is the kind of film that just kind of reinforces the notion in my mind that Denzel is one of the greatest actors out there, and that he can always elevate anything he's in. So if you've never seen Flight, this is one that I think is definitely worth checking out, and I would recommend it. So yeah, for my final honorable mention, Flight. All right, so that about wraps it up for my top 10 list of my favorite Denzel Washington movies on physical media. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think of my choices here for my list? What are some of your favorite Denzel Washington movies, especially if they're not on this list? I'd love to hear what some of your favorites are. I always enjoy talking with you guys and chatting with you and interacting with you in the comments, so make sure you leave me some feedback down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.